being recorded. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited tonight to announce our amazing guest speaker all the way from Downey, California, Mr. Brandon Burbank, a young 25-year-old, and he's got quite a story to share with us tonight. He was born and raised in Bellingham, Washington. He has an associate's degree in arts and science with business classes, and the book, Come Back to Success, goes into depth about mental health, his life experiences related to mental health and personal development, and he is pursuing a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship from California State University. So we are excited to hear his speech tonight. The title of his speech is Come Back to Success, Book Talk. So without further ado, I give you Mr. Brandon Burbank. Take it away.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everybody at this Toastmasters meeting and group for welcoming me for this opportunity to talk with you guys about my recently published book titled Come Back to Success, Relentless Commitment for a Better Tomorrow. So before I do that, I wanted to give you a little bit of a brief synopsis about more of who I am so that you can kind of get to know me more personally and kind of be able to relate with some of the ideas and concepts that I'm going to address as well as provide with you guys tonight. With that being said, I would like you had mentioned, I'm from born and raised in Bellingham, Washington. Definitely a small city boy, and just had a wonderful childhood, wonderful experiences in high school and my adolescence and everything like that. And so I had a lot of ambitions as a kid, and definitely participating well in sports and excelling in my career with my courses in high school and just middle school, elementary school, all the above. So fast forward to 19, 18 years old, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And this was post-study abroad trip in Barcelona, Spain, that I talk about as well in my book itself, Come Back to Success. And it's just something that I think is really unique, but it was a difficult it was difficult to come to this understanding and have this acceptance of this condition of being bipolar, because it's so foreign to different people. And how do you understand yourself? How do you manage that? And how do you keep moving forward and trying to find success in life? And there's a lot of people that can relate to that. In fact, there's a quick statistic out there that says that over 50 million Americans, just in America alone, are living with a mental illness. And so my goal as my business Come Back to Success is to help to basically shed light on that, and then also being able to provide the right products and services that will help provide those individuals with the ability to come back to success. But more focused around like my life story as well, because that's an important understanding for you guys to kind of understand more of where I've come from as well as where I've been, so that you can make your call whether or not this is something that could benefit your life or not. And my call to action for you guys tonight is just to gain some clarity on how you can educate yourself more on mental health, so that way you can have a better understanding of for yourself how to manage when you're feeling depressed or just feeling down or feeling anxious or stressed, because all of those things are normal as human beings. And I think that it's really an important part of our growth and learning to recognize and understand when you need to make changes in your life, as well as being able to like progress when things aren't going well in your life, so that you can know how to counteract those feelings and keep moving forward when things are getting difficult in your life. There's been so many times in my life experiences, like I mentioned in my book, Chapter 4, Halfway House, Hospitalizations and Self-Help Programs. That's just a chapter that I entirely dedicated towards some of my mental health struggles and where life took me personally, from the hospitalization process and going through the whole mental health system here in the US. That's been something that's really opened my eyes dramatically and tremendously. And it's provided me with value, because this value I can educate and motivate other people who've had similar struggles. And being a member of Toastmasters in the dynamic Toastmasters for Downey, California, I've had the wonderful pleasure and opportunity to continue to just like harness my speaking skills, and sharpen my skills for as a speaker, as a keynote speaker, because that's one of my passions, is to help convey messages and send ideas that sparks creativity, growth, and eventually talent is created and success from my words, just my words alone. And but not only that, but I wanted to go back into my book topics, because there's my book. There's 9 chapters total. It's a quick read, to be honest with you, and it focuses a lot on mental health. Some of it my story, and I know this is a lot of information in the short amount of time, because this is the condensed presentation. But I would be doing myself a disservice if I was not to provide you guys with the right understanding and the information, so that you guys can have the best perspective on mental health. Because there's a lot of perspectives, from like when it comes to gun violence to a lot of other abuse opportunities, that has been really difficult for people, and how they've learned how to navigate through journeys in life. And so there's a lot of things that is really profound. And so how do we continue to progress in life when there's just so many things that mental health, there's stigma around there, and the stigmatization of mental health in our nation as well as in our world is something that is really profound and powerful, that my business, Come Back to Success, aims to kind of destigmatize and focus on how we can understand each other from a different perspective, rather than just going at it from just a negative point of view. So that's just something that's important. But my book itself, I was going to go into depth more a little bit around that. And that is focusing on chapters 8 and 9, which is, if you'd ask me, those are my favorite chapters, because they focus more on mental health as well as personal development. And this is just something that is, boy, it's something that's powerful, because I've always been a really driven and successful person, really goal-oriented person, still am till this day. And so I have a lot of goals. As you mentioned earlier, Rebecca, I'm currently going back to school for Cal State Fullerton University entrepreneurship program, which I'm really excited about. And it's a wonderful opportunity to kind of gain more insight and knowledge from other people. But the book talk itself, chapters 8 and 9, chapters 8 is called, chapter 8 is Retail to Motivational Speaking. And then chapter 9 is Success Over Stigma. And those 2 chapters, if you decide to purchase a copy of my book, it would be a good opportunity to gain insight on how somebody from a humble beginning and trying to create success out of nothing can turn that into profits and also success and making an impact in our communities. So that's just something that I think is really profound, because when you can turn your lemons and turn it into lemonade, like in terms of your problems, and turn them into solutions in life, that is something that I believe that I've been able to do by going through the mental health system process and programs, and being able to learn how to educate myself on mental health and my condition, learning how to manage my condition, and how I was able to just continue to grow and become the best version of myself. And all that took time, dedication, commitment, a relentless commitment for a better tomorrow, and everything that I had envisioned in my mind for what I wanted to accomplish. But with the time permitted as well, I was going to focus on chapters 8 and 9 tonight, because as I'd mentioned earlier, chapter 8, which is Retail to Motivational Speaking, Passion Pathfinding. And I talk about my journey from going from Bellingham, Washington, to then moving to Seattle, Washington, sacrificing thousands of dollars to purchase my first condo in Bellingham. Instead, I had a dream to eventually move to LA and Southern California, which here I am now living my dreams and doing that. And then I moving from Seattle, Washington, to then LA, and then Cerritos, and then Long Beach, where I'm currently at now. And that's just been an opportunity of robust growth. And there's been a lot of pain, a lot of just uncomfortability. And my best piece of advice that I can give to myself and to others is, when you want to be successful, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And if you're not wanting to be uncomfortable, then you're giving yourself a disservice by not being able to reach your truest potential. And so there's just so much out there that I think is that we lack, and we lack direction and insight as human beings. And that's another topic, but I wanted to bring that up because that's integrated in my chapters 8 and 9, for success over stigma as well. And then passion pathfinding, retail to motivational speaking. I also talk some more about my past work experiences and going from automotive sales, retail, a lot of grocery retail in my lifetime so far, which has been great. And, everybody has their own different walks of life, but in this book, Come Back to Success, I really like reference and I preface a lot of different experiences and how it's shaped me as a person and how I've gained value from the experiences so that I can help inspire and motivate others, whether you have a mental illness or not. But my goal is obviously my business is to help people with a mental illness and with mental health problems so that they can become the best version of themselves, find success and whatever that might be for themselves, for their lives. So we all have a different definition of success, and that is why I can basically leave it at that. And as you might not know, but I also have a consulting practice where I work directly with people doing life goals, like accomplishing life goals, as well as from a peer-to-peer perspective. I'm not a licensed counselor, therapist, or psychiatrist, doctor, none of that. But this is only from a peer-to-peer perspective who can give you some experiences and bounce ideas off of so that you can become the best version of yourself, essentially. And it's simple as that. Like, it's like it gets tough for all of us. And especially during this pandemic and everything that's going on in our lives today, it's like, how do you take control of your life and keep moving forward when things seem to be in the gray area, when we have so much gray area in our lives today? And when we go through just different trials and tribulations, you're tested, your character. And so when I talk about my chapter 9, success over stigma, I really focus a lot on I'll start with a quote by a famous actor named Will Smith. And he says, to build a wall, you must lay one brick as perfectly as possible until eventually you have that wall. And that wall signifies success, because when you have that success in your heart, in your mind, and you feel that you're growing, that you want to make a change for yourself for the better, as well as to make an impact in other people's lives, life gets better, and it gets more impactful, and it gets more exciting and just better in so many ways. It's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine, but it's the reality. And so anyways, I was going to also digress a little bit because I know if I covered chapters 8 and 9, and there's like 7 other chapters. Yeah, 7 other chapters. But I was going to go back to chapter 7, which is the care plan, because chapter 7 covers a lot on like an approach for those of you and either on my YouTube channel or just live here tonight on the Toastmasters Club that is kind of having some mental health problems and needs something that might not be like a doctor or a psychologist, but like just by yourself. And this is more holistically, so to speak. And what I mean by that is like writing down on a piece of paper a care plan for yourself, saying, okay, this is what I'm feeling like when I'm feeling this way. What are some actions that I could take to overcome this feeling? And like getting through, oh, I need to go work out right now, or oh, I need to read a book, or oh, I need to call a friend right now. And those are just perfect examples of how you can be in touch with yourself, with your mind, because you are in the driver's seat of your life. And I found so many times that when I felt stressed and overwhelmed at life and really like anxious, like going back to something that's stable, sustainable, and tangible, those are things that really continues to help you stay focused. Because when things get really out of whack and really stressful and really just like you feel unsure about what the future holds, something that's tangible is something that you can really fall back on when things are getting difficult. And then also my another chapter that I was going to go back to, I've done multiple book talks around this. The only difference, for those of you tonight and on YouTube, if you look onto my YouTube channel, I've done this topic in several, how many minutes? I'm muted? Oh, I'm good. Okay. So like I was
You need to
mentioning.
stop the timer.
Oh, okay. So, like I was saying though, basically, I've done this talk in so many different ways, but it just depends on the audience, and that's what I'm learning. Because when you have different people that are coming from different walks of life, it's a matter of how you can cater your experience for the audience. Because I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for you guys being the part of this Toastmasters club, and as well as my YouTube channel, who have all the followers base, because I want to help those people that are in need and that save lives essentially. And so we can do that together by being able to kind of collectively come together and say, hey, well, end the stigma now by focusing on what we can do to better understand others from their perspectives, from their points of view. And that way we can basically stay focused and get things done that are necessary in the priorities of life, so that we can make our lives more sustainable, wealthier, healthier, and just more content. And then finally, I'm just going to wrap this up a little bit more. Well, moving on to chapter 3. How much time do I have left, by the way? Anybody know? Am I good on time? Okay, if I'm good on time, I'm going to keep going, because there's more that needs to be discussed, and that is chapter 3, which is diagnosis and affliction. So chapter 3 is my story of how I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And in this chapter, I talk about some fundamental concepts that, for those of you that don't understand how a mental health diagnosis is created. Yes, it's created from a doctor, but it's like, how do you understand that? And how do you like learn how to manage something like that? When I'll tell you right now, other people, as an individual speaking with bipolar disorder, I have my own way of how I deal with my mental health condition, just like other people like you probably who are watching this have another way of how you deal with your own mental health problems. But I can tell you right now, if you reach out to different professionals, they can give you the best decision, but it's ultimately your decision. And not only that, but then when you think about like, I'll be honest with you guys, I see a therapist and it helps me because I feel more like just in tune with my body, in tune with my body and my mind, because I believe that your mind is the most powerful thing that you can have in your body, besides your heart, of course. And so those are the things that you can learn how to. Well, yeah, I wanted to bring that up because that's really relevant towards this topic of mental health, as well as the chapter itself in the book, Come Back to Success, which, excuse me again, focuses a lot on diagnosis and affliction. But that is going to basically wrap up all the chapters. And before I start wrapping this up, I wanted to say thank you everyone for this opportunity tonight, for those tuning in for Toastmasters. For those of you that are on my YouTube channel tonight or just tuning in right now and watching this for the first time, please just subscribe. And if you have any other questions, feel free to DM me and reach out. My book is on Amazon as well, and it's been published since last April. So it's almost a year now. And so I'm really looking forward to providing more insight and direction for speech opportunities. And thank you so much, Toastmasters of Cerritos as well, and specifically Sheree. Thank you guys, and have a great night.
All right, let's fill it up for Brandon. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Amazing speech. Thank you very much. All right, let's take a minute to provide Brandon some feedback and comments.
Could you stop the recording?